Upon waking up from his travels, he discovered that he had entered this treacherous and dangerous world where demons were rampant, and had become an intern in the Qingzhou Demon Removal Department of the Dayin Dynasty. And he was also surprised to find that his martial arts had his own ideas, and he would also practice and evolve on his own. The red fire mind skill was moved by your fiery fighting spirit, which stimulated the potential and evolved into the 9-yang manual. Tong arm fist was contaminated by a wisp of demonic energy, becoming ferocious and irritable, blackening into ape magic fist. The golden bell mask absorbed a strand of dragon essence and underwent an unexpected transformation, transforming into a 9-fire divine dragon mask in this dark world where demons eat people, and people eat people. The gods and Buddhas have long been powerless to return to heaven. Only complete madness is meaningful. Keywords of the novel. People in the Demon Eliminating Company, martial arts evolved on their own without pop-ups. People in the Demon Eliminating Company, martial arts evolved on their own. Download the complete text. People in the Demon Eliminating Company, martial arts evolved on their own. Latest chapters for reading. Chapter 1. Qingzhou Demon Removal Department. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Qingzhou Demon Removal Department. The crimson sunset, like blood, scattered across the vast earth. On the dirt-yellow official road, 2 large carriages are moving towards the direction of the sunset. There are 2 men in black strong clothing with sharp expressions riding horses leading the way ahead. In the spacious carriage, Zhou slowly opened his eyes and stared at the unfamiliar environment and people around him, completely stunned. I heard that the content of this trial is to go to Feishua Mountain Villa outside the city. Why is that damn place? Someone exclaimed in surprise. What's scary about Feishua Villa? If you're not a local, you naturally don't know. More than a decade ago, a concubine of the owner of Feishua Mountain Villa hanged herself in red due to some dirty matter. 7 days later, dozens of people mysteriously disappeared from Feishua Mountain Villa overnight, directly evaporating from the human world. Later on, it was heard that the Demon Removal Department had also sent people to investigate, but ultimately no results were obtained and it became a forbidden area for death. Listening to the men dressed in ancient costumes talking next to me, traveling around was confusing. He couldn't understand anything about MOC, Feishua Mountain Villa, and the woman in red hanging herself. Aren't you in the hospital? Zhou frowned. He remembers being on his way to work, seemingly encountering a traffic accident and unconscious. Just as he was wandering around in confusion, suddenly a huge and chaotic stream of information flooded into his mind. He couldn't help but snort and his face turned pale. He felt as if his head had been hit hard with a hammer, in excruciating pain, as if it was about to burst. Everyone in the carriage now has an unusually serious and even solemn expression, without even noticing any abnormality in the expression of Zhou sitting in the corner. The carriage continued to move forward. Not long after, Zhou felt the pain in his mind recede like a tide, and the carriage happened to come to a stop. Come down. A faint voice sounded from outside. The people in the carriage quickly got off the carriage, and Zhou followed everyone down. Together, I realized that I was wearing a long knife around my waist. 2 carriages, a total of 20 people. Arranged neatly in 2 rows. A man in black with a cold expression appeared in the eyes of everyone. You have been practicing in the Demon Eliminating Department for 3 years, and it's time to assess you. The abandoned villa behind me, I believe many people have heard of its name. Yes, it is Feishua Villa. The content of this assessment is also very simple. As long as you spend the night at Feishua Villa tonight, you will be considered successful in the assessment and become an intern demon killer. If we hadn't spent it, we probably wouldn't have met either. Finally, I kindly remind you not to try to gather in groups. The stronger the aura of life, the more powerful and mysterious it will be. I have already said everything I want to say, you can go in now. The indifferent man said indifferently. Watching the desolate and dilapidated Feishua Villa, which exuded a gloomy aura, Zhou felt an inexplicable chill in his heart. However, others have already entered one after another, and the journey can only be tough. As soon as I stepped into this abandoned mountain villa, a gust of gloomy wind blew in front of me, making me shudder. On the overgrown ground, covered with white paper money, it was blown by the wind and scattered all over the sky, as if entering a deserted and ghostly world. Take a deep breath and work hard to adjust your emotions. Others have long dispersed to seek refuge tonight. And Zhou Yu looked around and walked towards the depths of the mountain villa. Has this assessment passed a bit? The indifferent man suddenly spoke out as he watched the students disappear into the villa. The cunning of Feishu Villa is not something that these rookies can deal with. Beside him was an ordinary-looking man in a black robe. A few days ago, a rainy night butcher appeared in Yellowstone City, killing more than 10 brothers. They may have been in a hurry to recruit people, which allowed these rookies to enter this haunted place, hoping that they could grow quickly. Many people will die, sighed the indifferent man. Is there anyone who got into the demon eliminating department who survived? The man in black asked in response. For a moment, the two fell into silence. The mottled and peeling walls were covered with moss, exuding a heavy aura of Yin. Zhou Yu found a relatively complete room, which naturally accumulated a thick layer of dust and dense spider webs. Traveling around can only be cleaned up a bit, and there can be a place to rest. At this moment, the sunset has completely fallen, and darkness has enveloped the earth. The villa was completely plunged into darkness. Fortunately, Zhou Yu found a candle in the room and lit it with the torch he carried with him. The dim yellow candlelight reflected on his face, appearing somewhat uncertain. After organizing the information in his mind, Zhou Yu knew he had traveled through it. And it also traversed into a dangerous world where demons were rampant and eerie. In order to deal with these demons and monsters, the Dayin Dynasty specially established demon removal departments in each state, specifically responsible for slaying demons and suppressing evil spirits. The original owner of Zhou Yu's body, also known as Zhou Yu, was an orphan who was adopted by a former demon slayer from the Qingzhou Demon Removal Bureau since childhood. Naturally, he chose to join the training camp of the Demon Removal Bureau and become a student. After 3 years of cultivation, the trainees of the training camp will face the real assessment of becoming an intern demon slayer. And during this time period, I traveled around. What kind of thing is this? Zhou Yu gave a bitter smile. Time travel is fine, how could one travel through such a terrifying world? According to the memory in my mind, those terrifying demons and monsters would slaughter the city at any moment, with blood flowing into a river. Woo-woo. The cold wind outside the window sobbed, making Zhou Yu slightly calm down. Now is not the time to think about these things, how to live through tonight is crucial. He tightly grasped the handle of the knife in his hand, as if this cold weapon could bring him a sense of security. Since childhood, Zhou Yu has been learning martial arts from that demon slayer and has also mastered several martial arts. They are Red Fire Heart Technique, Tong Arm Fist, and Gale Blade Technique. The cultivation has also reached the late stage of the forging stage, only a little short of entering the inner Qi realm. He is also one of the best performing students in the Qingzhou Demon Removal Training Camp, but he has a solitary personality and rarely communicates with others. Tonight, I don't plan to sleep for the trip. Relaxing vigilance in such a place is basically no different from seeking death. Bang 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 bang. At this moment, a strange knocking sound sounded outside the door. Zhou Yu secretly exclaimed in his heart that something was wrong, and tightly grasped the handle of the knife in his hand. Under the dim yellow candlelight, he could clearly see that there was no figure outside the wooden door pasted with window paper. Bang 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 bang. The knocking on the door is very rhythmic, as if tapping on the heart of the traveler. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Midnight knocking on the door. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Midnight knocking on the door. Traveling around, my scalp tingled and my heart pounded as if I was about to jump out of my chest. This Feishu villa, which was completely destroyed overnight over a decade ago, is sure to experience various strange things at night. Bang 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 bang. The knocking outside the door was rhythmic, neither light nor heavy, but carried a lingering flavor. It seems that if you don't open the door, you will keep knocking. Stop knocking, I'm going to sleep. Zhou Yu suddenly shouted, his face extremely solemn. As soon as the wooden door opened, he immediately launched the most fierce attack. In an instant, the knocking on the door outside suddenly came to an end and never heard again. Zhou Yu stood still, his mind filled with black question marks. Is this okay too? In these days, how polite are all the treacherous people? However, before he could be happy for long, the temperature in the room began to drop sharply, giving people a feeling of falling into an ice cave. That mysterious thing hasn't left. Zhou Yu's face darkened. According to the original memory of this body, things like mysterious and resentful spirits appear, and the most obvious feature is that the temperature will drop mysteriously. A strange cold wind blew open the wooden door and extinguished the candles in the room. The view inside the room became extremely dim, with only the pale moonlight falling on the ground like patches of dead bodies, appearing somewhat permeable. Traveling around, my hands and feet were cold, and I took a deep breath. In his pupils, he seemed to see a red phantom slowly approaching from the darkness in the distance. Under the pale moonlight, this red phantom appeared somewhat frightening, but it also made Zhou Yu see its appearance clearly. This is a woman wearing a red dress, but her face is as pale as frost. Against the backdrop of the red dress, it is so white that it is somewhat frightening. Her eyes protrude like dead fish, staring straight at Zhou Yu, exuding an incredibly deep evil intent. Character explosion, winning the big prize. There was a mournful cry in Zhou Yu's heart. When he first crossed over, he heard other students discussing the story of this mountain villa. This Feishu villa died overnight, and the culprit should be the concubine who hanged herself in red. You should know that red belongs to Yin Sha, and coupled with the fact that this little concubine had already harbored hatred and ended up with a resentment in her heart, it can be said that it is a combination of evil and evil. Being able to be targeted by this cunning red-clad student among the 20 students, Zhou Yu is also considered extremely lucky. Spell it. Zhou Yu exhaled a foul breath and a fierce expression flashed in his eyes. If it were him from a previous life, he would probably have been scared to the point where his legs were weak. But now he has fused two memories. The world of travel has been growing up in the Demon Eliminator since childhood, with a fierce and fearless heart. How could he possibly be afraid of a mysterious one? The demon slayer who adopted him once said. Fear is the most useless emotion in the face of the mysterious demons. Zhou Yu held his sword in both hands, raised it high, his muscles twisted all over, and he unleashed a terrifying speed. Shua! A sharp blade of light shone in the darkness. A strange smile appeared on the eerie face of the red-clothed man, and he extended a pale and emaciated arm. Bang! Zhou Yu only felt a huge force coming from the long sword, and the whole person instantly flew backwards, hitting the wall heavily. The aura inside Zhou Yu's body churned, and he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of fresh blood. Without giving him any chance to catch his breath, a pale ghost claw stirred up waves of scarlet wind and landed on his head. Boom! Traveling around and rolling, barely managed to dodge this fatal blow. But the scene before me made my scalp tingle. On the wall, he was clawed down by the mysterious red clothes, and a big hole was blasted out. This is definitely Yin-level cunning. Zhou Yu exclaimed in his heart. Demons and monsters are also divided by their strength, which includes ferocity, Yin, blood grudges, and black nightmares. However, Zhou Yu's current strength is only in the forging stage, corresponding to the level of ferocity in the demon and demon's deceit. That is to say, this red robe is eerie, surpassing him by one level. You guys! All damn it! The eerie red-clothed man let out a mournful roar in his mouth, which turned into a lingering shadow and instantly appeared in front of Zhou Yu. He then clawed down again. Slash the wind with no breath. Zhou Yu shouted loudly and directly used the most powerful sword technique among the wind-cutting techniques. Hu! A gust of wind seemed to rise in the room, falling fiercely towards the mysterious red clothes. This knife was incredibly swift, even the air seemed to be torn apart, making a sobbing sound. With a loud bang, the long sword fiercely struck the pale ghost claw, unleashing the sound of a clash of gold and iron. The mysterious red clothes were unexpectedly shaken back several meters by Zhou Yu's knife. But that's all. The next second, the ghost claw, which was so fast to the extreme, was once again seen by Zhou Yu, and he could only barely avoid the key points. Shwa! Zhou Yu was directly hit several meters away and fell to the ground fiercely. His right shoulder was torn off with a large piece of flesh, bloody and dripping. A cold and yin qi rapidly spread along the wound towards the heart meridian. Not good. Zhou Yu secretly exclaimed in his heart that something was wrong, so he could only mobilize the few strands of red fire within his body to stop it. He has just cultivated this red fire heart technique and has just reached the beginner level, but its power is not very strong. The intense collision between the red fire internal qi and the gloomy cold qi within the body immediately dissipated. And Zhou Yu stood up unsteadily, looking at the eerie red clothes a few meters away. Its mouth was still chewing on its own flesh and blood, bloody and terrifying. Damn it, I'll fight today. Zhou Yu roared angrily. Watching this red-clothed person eating his own flesh and blood, he didn't feel any fear in his heart, but instead felt endless shame. His eyes became hot and crazy, and he couldn't hold the knife in his right hand. Instead, he held a long knife in his left hand and struck fiercely. The eerie pair of dead fish in red clothes had a mocking smile in their eyes. They loved humans who were not afraid of death the most. Only by torturing these humans can they feel happy. Bang! Without any suspense, Zhou Yu was directly slapped and flew out by the mysterious red clothes. After a whirlwind, the tour landed heavily. This time, he felt as if his bones were shattered and filled with intense pain. However, he still did not fall, gritted his teeth and stood up, swinging his sword again to cut towards the mysterious red clothes. This night, never give up. Suddenly, a cold voice entered the mind of the traveler. The red fire mind skill was moved by your fiery fighting spirit, stimulated its potential, and evolved into the 9-yang manual. Traveling around, I suddenly felt a scorching internal energy burst out from my dantian, burning like a furnace in heaven and earth. Go to hell. Zhou Yu roared angrily without any hesitation, pouring all the scorching internal energy into the long sword. The cold long knife quickly heated up, red like hot iron, and turned into a thread of fire in the void. The red robe is too cunning and underestimates the enemy. Originally, it wanted to continue tormenting and wandering around, but unexpectedly, a scorching aura erupted from this human body that even it felt afraid of. By the time I realized it, the long sword had already landed on my body. The surging 9-yang internal qi surged in, constantly burning the eerie red clothes. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Martial Arts Strike. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Martial Arts Strike. The red robe let out a mournful scream, and looked at Zhou Yu with resentment, transforming into a red shadow that dissipated into the room. Ha, ha, ha. For a moment, only the sound of Zhou Yu gasping loudly remained in the dimly lit room. He knows he survived. After the danger disappeared, severe pain began to surge in like a tide, especially the wound on the right shoulder, which was unbearable. Blood flowed all over the ground, and if not stopped bleeding quickly, one might lose too much blood and die. Damn it! Zhou Yu let out a muffled groan and mobilized the last strand of 9-yang internal energy in his body to reach the wound. Zhou Yu's face was twisted and ferocious, with a pale complexion and continuous dripping of sweat. His current feeling is like someone holding a torch burning on his wound. Soon, a burnt meat smell emanated from his right shoulder, but the effect was immediate, and the wound immediately stopped bleeding. After completing all of this, he collapsed weakly on the wall, tore his shirt into strips of cloth, and bandaged the wound. His current condition is very poor. If that red-clothed monster were to come back again, Zhou felt like he was dead set. Fortunately, his luck was not as good as before, until the sound of roosters crowing in the distance, and the strangeness did not reappear. Zhou stumbled out of the room and arrived at the entrance of the villa, then sat down on the ground. A ray of fish belly white appeared in the distant sky, and the sky was hazy. Other trainees from the training camp also arrived at the entrance of the villa one after another. Zhou glanced around and found that these people were not much better than him. Their faces were pale, their bodies were covered in blood, and one of them lost his right hand. After a while, no more students walked out. Including the tour, there are a total of 7 students at the entrance of the villa at this moment. That is to say, out of the 20 trainees who participated in the assessment, 13 stayed here forever. At this moment, a warm golden sun tore through the darkness of the sky and scattered on the wandering face. He leaned relaxed against a stone pier, feeling warm all over. Looking at the golden crow rising in the distance, he murmured, "What a crazy world." A cold voice rang out in his mind. The 9 manual was shined by the morning light. I felt very happy and began to practice hard. The cultivation speed was increased by 10%. Upon hearing this sound, Zhou was taken aback. What's going on? Last night, he heard the hint of this cold voice, and then his red fire internal energy turned into a more domineering 9 yang internal energy. Now that I am exposed to the sun, will I still start practicing my martial arts on my own? Unfortunately, now is not the time to figure out all of this, and there is a distant sound of horse hooves hitting the ground. Soon, the indifferent man and the black-robed man appeared in the eyes of Zhou riding a fine horse. Congratulations, you have completed your assessment and become an intern demon slayer. The indifferent man approached the crowd, his voice devoid of any emotion. The black-robed man also nodded in satisfaction. Living 7 people has exceeded expectations. He originally thought he could only live around 4 or 5. Upon hearing this sound, Zhou couldn't help but faint. He has been relying on his tenacious will to persevere since last night, and now that he has confirmed his safety, once his body and mind relax, he can no longer hold on. When Zhou woke up again, he found himself lying on a soft mattress. Shaking his head, Zhou wanted to make himself clearer. He felt very thirsty in his throat and got up directly to the table. He picked up the teapot on top and started drinking it gurgling. After the cool and sweet tea was poured into my throat, Zhou finally regained consciousness. Is this your own home? Zhou looked around the room and found it very familiar. He also found that the wound on his right shoulder had been bandaged with a clean white cloth, emitting a strong medicinal smell. At this moment, Zhou remembered the change in his own martial arts. Suppressed a shout. System. Host. Zhou cultivation. Early stage of internal qi state. The 9 yang manual. Level 1, 2%. Gale blade technique. De Cheng, 65%. Tong arm fist. Perfect. At this moment, a series of voices also came to mind in Zhou's mind. The 9 yang manual didn't absorb the sun's anger yesterday, so I was upset. I started to strike and didn't practice it. The wind saber technique originally wanted to cultivate hard, but it was corrupted by the 9 yang manual, so it also chose to strike. The cultivation level of Tong arm fist has reached perfection, without motivation or any intention of cultivation. Zhou's gaze momentarily froze. My system seems a bit peculiar. How come it's not like those who can upgrade by adding points to their martial arts? And every martial arts skill seems to have its own ideas. If you are not satisfied with its ideas, start a strike. Especially the 9 yang manual, this guy is just like a thorn in the head. It's just a matter of going on a strike to cultivate oneself, but surprisingly, they are also going on a strike with other martial arts skills. It's really despicable. You decided that you should never let go of the Nine Yang manual. You should teach it a lesson. Let it know who the master is. Thinking about it, Zhou Yu pushed open the door. Outside is a spacious courtyard, adorned with some weapons and stone locks. At this moment, the morning mist has just dissipated. Zhou Yu carried a small stool and sat in the center of the yard, basking in the warm golden sunshine. The Nine Yang manual felt the sunshine, and finally got better. It began to absorb the sun's fire. The cultivation speed was increased by 10%. As an adult myself, I shouldn't argue with these children. Wandering silently comforted herself in her heart. He could feel that the Nine Yang Qi in the Dantian began to circulate, transforming into a small red stream flowing through the meridians. At the same time, a ray of blazing sun fire was also attracted by the Nine Yang manual, and slowly integrated into his body. For a moment, the skin on the surface of the tour turned red, like a ripe shrimp. Heat, it's so hot. Traveling around feels like my body is burning like a furnace. The sun is the hottest star between heaven and earth, illuminating all things in the world and bringing infinite light. The weaker and more mysterious stood under the sun for a short while, and soon it would fly to ashes. Because even a faint ray of solar fire is extremely hot and domineering. I don't know how long it took, but Zhou Yu's expression finally returned to normal. The Nine Yang manual absorbed a ray of sun fire, and made great progress in cultivation, and the cultivation progress was increased to 21%. Upon hearing this sound, Zhou Yu finally felt a little comforted in his heart. He just really felt like he was going to be burned alive. Fortunately, it's early morning and the sunlight is not yet the most intense. If it's noon, I'm afraid I'll be burned into a charred corpse by the scorching heat of the sun. However, at this moment, Zhou Yu also discovered that he had a sticky black impurity all over his body, emitting an unpleasant smell. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Demon Slaying Blade. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Demon Slaying Blade. This is an impurity in the body of the traveler, which is directly exposed to the surface of the skin after being burned by the sun's fire. I didn't expect that the Nine Yang manual could also wash the marrow and cut the bone. It was also a surprise. He now feels that his body seems to have become lighter, and the speed of internal qi circulation has also increased. In less than an hour, 30.6 weeks were completed. But a layer of black impurities, similar to sludge, quietly appeared on the surface of the skin. Zhou Yu felt a bit nauseous, so she quickly went to wash it off to remove any impurities from her body. During this process, Zhou Yu discovered that the wound on his right shoulder had started to scab. He couldn't help but marvel at the warrior's physical recovery ability. If this wound were replaced with his past self, it would probably not have been fully healed for half a month. Why hasn't the Nine Yang manual recovered the wind saber technique that was damaged by it? Zhou Yu changed into clean clothes and frowned slightly. Due to the host's failure to touch the sword and feeling low, they still don't want to practice the Gale Blade technique. It's over. The wind saber technique has been corrupted by the Nine Yang manual, and has begun to be wayward. Zhou Yu let out a mournful cry in his heart, but he could only swallow his anger and fulfill the need for this wind sword technique. So he walked into the yard and picked up a long knife. The wind sword technique feels that the knife in your hand is too inferior, and feels that the host is insulting themselves, indicating that they don't want to practice and throwing a white eye at you. Upon hearing this, the anger level gradually increased. But he found that he seemed completely helpless towards these guys and had no choice. Even if one can only satisfy these strange and bizarre demands, otherwise if they all go on strike for cultivation, how can they survive in this world where demons are rampant? This is not about practicing martial arts, it's like raising a group of little ancestors. Zhou Yu gave a bitter smile, but in order to survive in this damn world, he had to return to his room and pick up the refined steel long sword that was uniformly issued by the demon eliminator. The wind sword technique felt that this knife was careless, but also knew that the host couldn't come up with a better knife, so they resumed their cultivation. Zhou Yu's eyes were dull. Are you being looked down upon by a knife technique? At this moment, his heart suffered 10,000 points of critical damage. Bang 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 bang. At this moment, there was a knocking sound outside the door. Zhou Yu was taken aback for a moment, and instinctively wanted to pull out the long knife in his hand. Mainly that night at Feishua Villa, the eerie red-clothed figure left him with too much shadow. Then I realized that I am currently in the demon eliminator, and the demons are coming to cause trouble. Isn't it that the restroom is lit up? Pack up your mood and wander out of the yard to open the door. A one-eyed man with a gloomy face caught the eye. This man has a strong smell of blood on his body, as if walking out of the sea of corpses and blood, which is chilling. Uncle Zhang. Zhou Yu is not afraid, and a hint of surprise appeared on his face. This one-eyed man is named Zhang Lai, who is a close friend of Su Ling, the demon slayer who adopted him. He is also an official demon slayer. Of course, Zhou Yu is also watched by him from a young age when he grew up. Uncle Zhang, didn't you go on a mission with your master? Why are you the only one coming back? Zhou Yu frowned slightly. Don't worry, your master and I just came back yesterday, but there was another problem on the other side of Linjiang City. He rushed over again, Zhang Lai explained calmly, as if seeing Zhou Yu's concern. After becoming an official demon slayer, they basically go outside to slay demons and eliminate them, constantly rushing around and having little time to rest. There is no way, there are too many demons and monsters, and the hundreds of demon hunters in the Demon Removal Department are basically operating at an overload. However, even so, the demons were not suppressed, but instead became increasingly rampant, showing signs of escalating. I see. Zhou Yu nodded slightly. Nowadays, he has fused two memories and naturally still has feelings for those close to him. I came here to congratulate your master on becoming an intern demon slayer after passing the assessment. Zhang Lai will carry a rectangular wooden box and hand it over to Zhou Yu. This gift was supposed to be prepared by Su Ling for you, but unfortunately it cannot be handed over to you personally. Now I will give it to you on his behalf. Zhou Yu solemnly picked up this wooden box. This rectangular wooden box gives a heavy feeling when held in your hand, indicating a significant portion. Zhang Lai nodded lightly, said no more, and turned around to leave. Uncle Zhang, are you leaving now? Zhou Yu originally wanted to ask him a few questions. After all, his understanding of demons and monsters is still too limited. There's a problem in Qingzhou County, I need to rush over to handle it. Zhang Lai explained briefly and left without looking back. Watching Zhang Lai's figure disappear from his eyes, Zhou Yu couldn't help but let out a bitter smile. Is this the true portrayal of the demon slayer? Even giving a gift cannot exceed 10 sentences. I'm afraid when the demon slayer stops busy, it may be the moment when his life ends. Returning to the room with the wooden box, Zhou Yu eagerly opened it. A long sword with a sheath lay quietly inside. As a gift from the official demon slayer Su Ling, the long sword is naturally not an ordinary thing. Chong. A crisp metallic friction sound. Zhou Yu drew his long sword out of its sheath, and a cold and piercing aura hit his face, causing his skin to feel a slight cut. This long knife is somewhat similar to an embroidered spring knife, with a straight blade, a slightly curved tip, and a counter blade. The handle of the knife was wrapped in a black cloth strap, and its weight was slightly heavy. As it swung, there were sharp whistles. Zhou Yu couldn't help but nod in satisfaction. The wind sword technique loves this knife very much and thinks it suits me very well. My mood has also improved greatly, and I have an epiphany, which has elevated me to a perfect state. The sound that rang out in my mind made Zhou Yu ecstatic. This is a breakthrough. The surprise came a bit too suddenly. You should know that in order to break through to the perfect state of the Deqing realm of the wind blade technique, even if one has excellent talent in traveling, it is impossible to succeed without a few years of immersive cultivation. And now, just because I have obtained a good sword, this wind blade technique has directly broken through to the realm of perfection. Is this a bit too simple? After the wind blade technique reached its perfect state, Zhou Yu felt that his fingers seemed to have become even longer. Grasping this long knife, it feels like my arms are extended, like fingers and arms, without any sense of discord. There is a feeling of blood merging. And the explosive power of the body has also been greatly improved, as if a gust of wind can erupt from within at any time, incredibly fast. At this moment, Zhou Yu also noticed that there were two characters engraved on the scabbard. Slaying demons, obviously, Su Ling hopes that Zhou Yu can use this knife to slay demons and bring peace to the world. Take a deep breath and retract the demon-slaying blade into its scabbard. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Deficiency of Qi and Blood. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Deficiency of Qi and Blood. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. I didn't go anywhere but hid in my own yard to practice the 9-yang manual. Every day, I would absorb a ray of sun fire in the morning. Almost all the impurities in his body were burned clean by the internal energy of the sun, and his body was transparent and pure like glass, flawless and without dirt. My physique has also been greatly strengthened, and my muscles have become stronger, as if I have infinite energy. This is the wonder of the 9-yang manual. It not only cultivates the fiery and domineering qi within the yang, but also has the magic effect of changing tendons and washing marrow. After these days, he finally understood about the 9-yang manual, which was divided into 9 layers. The first 3 layers correspond to the early stage of the internal gas environment, the middle 3 layers are the middle stage of the internal gas environment, and the last 3 layers are the late stage of the internal gas environment. The wind blade technique and arm fist have both reached a perfect state, with no room for improvement. But what Zhou Yu didn't expect was that his physique had been strengthened, but his body had become thinner. This is not a good phenomenon, which has alerted him. So, after sunbathing today, he walked out of the yard for the first time and headed deep into the demon eliminator. Along the way, Zhou Yu met many people, including the demon slayer who had a friendship with Su Ling. However, neither side spoke and only nodded slightly before saying hello. Demon Slayer basically wanders between life and death every day, experiencing too much grief and becoming numb and indifferent. Perhaps this is also a way of self-protection. The demon division is very large, but it is basically divided into 4 areas. The East District is a residential area that provides a place for demonic people to live, and the courtyard for touring is located in the East District. The Southern District is the training camp, responsible for training students. The Western District is a sealed demon prison that suppresses countless demons and monsters, making it the most dangerous place among the demonic sections. I heard that some fierce demons cause trouble all day long, but with the help of demon eliminators to suppress them, they usually can't stir up any trouble. The North District is the administrative area responsible for the daily operation and task allocation of the Demon Removal Company. Even though Zhou Yu has become an intern demon killer, his identity token has not been changed yet and he can only operate in the Southern and Eastern Districts. The place he is going to now is the training camp in the Southern District. On a vast school field, hundreds of students wearing black martial arts uniforms are practicing the most basic open arm fist, sweating profusely. Ha, ha, ha! The fist wind howled and stirred the airflow. Tong arm fist is a boxing technique that every training camp needs to learn. It can refine the physique, make the body more slender, have abundant qi and blood, and have infinite strength. In my memory, Zhou Yu, like these students, practiced arm-to-arm boxing for a full year before being able to participate in the next stage of training. A burly man with narrow scars on his face stood in front of these students, his hands embracing him, his breath wild, even a loose black robe could not cover his muscles. This Tong arm fist is a first-class body refining fist technique that can help you step into the realm of forging. When your physical training is complete and your qi and blood rush into the sky like wolf smoke, you can break the limits of your body, refine essence and transform qi, and step into the realm of internal qi. However, this is just the beginning of the path of cultivation, and after the inner qi realm, there are also true qi realm and innate realm. And now is the time for you to lay the foundation. As a warrior, the more qi and blood you have, the greater the true qi you can generate. Starting from a towering building on the ground, the more solid your foundation is, the higher your future achievements will be. The scarred man's voice echoed like thunder in the school field. After listening to it, the students who had just joined the training camp showed excitement on their faces and started practicing even harder. He is the chief instructor of the training camp, Wu Yu. When Zhou Yu's figure appeared on the campus, he furrowed his brow slightly. Martial instructor. Zhou Yu saluted respectfully. He came specifically to consult with this chief instructor. When did you break through to the inner qi realm? Wu Yu asked lightly. As one of the most outstanding students from the previous session, Zhou Yu is well aware of the situation. Nowadays, traveling around with dragon and tiger strides, the breath is as long as a cow, which is a manifestation of stepping into the realm of internal energy. When participating in the internship demonic person assessment, I encountered a mysterious attack at night and broke through the gap between life and death, Zhou Yu said in a deep voice. He didn't lie about this, he just concealed the appearance of the system. Your current physique looks strong and your muscles are full of activity, but this is just an illusion. Your body is starting to overdraw. Wu Yu could tell at a glance the physical condition of Zhou Yu. How could this be? My body is overdrawn. Zhou Yu was surprised and didn't expect to come up with this answer. The true qi cultivated by the human body does not appear out of thin air. This essence is the essence of human life, the essence of internal qi, and the essence of refining and transforming qi. That is, the human bone marrow. This bone marrow is the human tissue that produces qi and blood. Now your bone marrow is starting to dry up, which means it is overdrawn. Wu Yu said expressionlessly, this is because your cultivation talent is extremely high, and your internal energy increases too quickly. However, your body has not absorbed enough nutrients, and you can only maintain your cultivation by overdrawing your bone marrow. If this continues, I'm afraid your body will have serious problems. So serious. Zhou Yu was surprised. Upon hearing Wu Yu's words, he finally understood. I have made rapid progress in cultivating the 9-yang manual these days, but there are also problems. The cultivation of internal qi requires a lot of nutrition. The 9-yang manual, which is just as powerful as the sun, needs more nutrition than the ordinary skill, which leads to an overdraft of my body. No, that's a good thing. It shows that your cultivation talent is very good. Wu Yu shook his head and led Zhou Yu out of the school field to the main hall of the training camp. He asked Zhou Yu to wait for a moment. After a while, he came out with a white jade porcelain bottle. There are 10 blood tonifying pills inside, which are made by boiling various precious herbs. Taking 1 pill a day can make up for the overdrawn part of you, with a slight surplus. As for the future pills, you need to earn them yourself. Wu Yu said lightly. Zhou Yu accepted this bottle of elixir and thanked him, thank you, Instructor Wu. In fact, although the demon slayer may appear indifferent and numb on the surface, he has also received many special treatments in his travels. Of course, a large part of the reason is due to his master, Su Ling. Next, Wu Yu replaced the identity token of Zhou Yu with the token of the intern demon slayer, representing that Zhou Yu has officially graduated from the training camp. After becoming an intern demon slayer, you will receive a 10-point contribution reward. Next, you will need to independently complete 3 demon slaying tasks in order to be promoted to demon slayer. I hope you take good care of yourself. Wu Yu handed a jade token to Zhou Yu. This jade token is small and exquisite, with a small sword on the front and the word demonic on the back. It feels a bit cold in my hand, and it seems to have a stabilizing effect on my mind. I understand. Zhou Yu nodded heavily. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Tianxing Temple. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Tianxing Temple. Returning to the yard for a stroll, I took out a red pill the size of a longan from a small white jade bottle. After smelling it, it still carried a strange fragrance. Gollum. Swallow it in one gulp. The blood-tonifying pill slides down the throat into the stomach, and a pure essence begins to dissipate. Then my own flesh and blood seem to be awakened, like a demon reincarnated, crazily absorbing this essence, which could be described as unbearable hunger and thirst. After the essence dissipated, Zhou Yu felt that every inch of his flesh and blood was transmitting a signal of hunger and thirst to him, as if he had not eaten enough. It seems that my body is overdrawn to a higher extent than the martial arts instructor had imagined, Zhou Yu thought for a moment before taking another blood-tonifying pill. According to Wu Yu's thinking pattern, Zhou Yu is just a few days of practicing the red fire heart technique, and his body will not suffer much damage. But you know from your heart that what you cultivate now is the 9-yang manual, which is too overbearing. When this blood-nourishing pill was consumed, a sense of satisfaction surged from the depths of my heart. The 9-yang manual has absorbed a lot of essence, which makes you feel happy and increases the cultivation speed by 20%. Upon hearing the voice in his mind, Zhou Yu's face showed a hint of joy, but he also realized a problem. That is the cultivation resource. Simply relying on blood and food to supplement nutrition is undoubtedly a drop in the bucket. We can only rely on the power of pills. Not only can it quickly replenish the qi and blood consumed in internal qi cultivation, but it can also accelerate the cultivation speed. But these pills are exchanged within the demon eliminating division based on contribution points. Contribution value is the most valuable thing among demonic spirits. Not only can it be exchanged for elixirs, but even divine weapons and martial arts secrets require contribution value exchange. The simplest way to obtain contribution value is to complete the task released by the demon eliminator. Now I need to consume 2 blood-tonifying pills a day and can only maintain them for 4 more days. It seems that I need to accept tasks and earn some contribution points, Zhou Yu pondered in his heart. Thinking about it, he went to the north district of the demon eliminator. He first went to Baibao Tower to take a look, which is the place to exchange contribution values. Discovering that a little contribution can be exchanged for 3 blood-tonifying pills. I now have 10 contribution points, so I decided to exchange all of them for the blood-tonifying pill in Zhou Yu. These 30 blood-tonifying pills can only support his cultivation for half a month. And with the improvement of the 9-yang manual, more HP will be consumed. Besides, he will definitely have to practice other martial arts in the future, and traveling around suddenly feels a lot of pressure. The Tianxing Hall is the place where the demon eliminator releases missions, and missions are also graded. According to the degree of danger, it is divided into 5 stars. The most dangerous task is the 5-star mission, while the 1-star mission is the simplest. According to regulations, interns who eliminate demons can only accept 2-star missions at the highest. Stepping into the Feixing Hall, the ground is paved with bluestone bricks, and 4 white jade pillars carved with dragons and painted with phoenixes have a grand momentum. There were many people, but unexpectedly quiet, without any noise. Even during the journey, there was a faint smell of blood. Hello, I would like to see if there are any tasks that are suitable for me. Zhou Yu arrived at a counter and lit up his identity token. Behind the counter was a beautiful-looking girl who nodded and said, "Is this your first time coming to pick up a task? If there's anything I don't understand, I can explain it to you." The jade token for the intern demon slayer is made of blue jade, while the token for the official demon slayer is made of jade, and the difference can be seen at a glance. Sure, Zhou Yu nodded slightly. The tasks released by our Heavenly Star Palace are basically divided into 2 types. One is the demonic elimination task, which is mainly to deal with the mysterious demons and monsters that appear in various parts of Qingzhou. The other is a miscellaneous task, such as joining the patrol team of Qingzhou City, which has a lower risk but also earns less tribute points. These are today's 2-star and 1-star missions. You can take a look. The girl reached out and gestured for the jade wall behind her. A column of text appeared at the back. Mysterious Disappearance Task Introduction. Recently, pedestrians have mysteriously disappeared in the forest 5 kilometers away from Yinhe County. The local county government has sent people to investigate, but they have never returned. Task difficulty: 2 stars. Task reward: 20 contribution points. Headless corpse task description. A certain mansion in Qinghe County was completely turned into headless corpses overnight, with a terrifying death and suspected to be haunted by deceit. Task difficulty: 2 stars. Task reward: 20 contribution points. Midnight Song Task Introduction. On a certain street in Nanyan County, after nightfall, people often hear the mournful singing of women echoing. The county government sent people to guard, but the next morning, they were found dead on the street and their organs disappeared completely. Task difficulty: 2 stars. Task reward: 25 contribution points. After taking a look around, I found that most demon-slaying tasks are on a 2-star difficulty level, while so-called miscellaneous tasks are on a 1-star difficulty level, all of which involve assisting local yamen patrols and the like. And if Shouyu wants to officially become a demon slayer, it means he has to complete 3 2-star demon slaying tasks. This time cannot exceed 6 months. That is to say, if Shouyu cannot complete 3 demon slaying tasks within 6 months, he will never be able to become a demon slayer. But Shouyu doesn't want to go out and execute the mission so quickly. Instead, he wants to accumulate more strength in the demon eliminating department, at least digest the health-boosting pills in his hands before executing the demon-eliminating mission, which will increase his survival rate. Actually, for every intern demon slayer, the first task is basically this. The delicate girl pointed her finger. Take a look at the itinerary. Slaying demons, task description. To clear a group of weak demons in the demon sealing prison, it is necessary for the demon slayer to personally kill them. Task difficulty: 1 star. Task reward: 10 contribution points. It is obvious that this is the novice task of the demon eliminator. The demons trapped in the sealed demon prison have long lost any resistance and no threatening ability. No matter how weak the demon is, it is not something that ordinary people can deal with. Only a demonic person with strong energy and blood can slay it. The Demon Removal Department will simply release the task of clearing demons as a task, which can not only increase the courage of the internship demon removal personnel, but also allow them to see the true face of demons. Then I'll take on this task, Shouyu nodded slightly. This is equivalent to a free gift, don't waste it. Moreover, personally killing a demon does indeed enable capable individuals to grow faster. At least when facing demons, one's legs tremble with fear. The delicate woman registered her travel information and handed him a cold iron plate. This is the token for sealing the demon prison. Tonight, bring the token to the corresponding prison room and kill the demons in it. On the front is written a layer, and on the back is written Prison 45. Go around and pack it up, then turn around and leave the Heavenly Star Palace. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Sealing the Demon Prison. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Sealing the Demon Prison. The sky is dotted with stars, and the bright moon hangs high, scattering layers of faint silver light. Shouyu wears the demon-slaying blade around his waist and walks towards the demon-sealing prison in the western district. The location of this demon prison is also extremely particular. The west belongs to gold, and the position of the white tiger is the most violent and ferocious spirit beast among the 4 spirit beasts. The sealed demon prison is built here, naturally hoping to use the evil energy of the western white tiger to suppress all the demons and monsters inside the sealed demon prison. Along the way, the lights were brightly lit. As you approach the sealed demon prison, a sense of solemnity will envelop you in your heart. And you can feel that in this invisible darkness, there seems to be a strand of gaze watching your every move. This gaze was as sharp as a knife, giving off a deadly sense of crisis, and I dared not harbor any evil thoughts in my heart. Take a deep breath and calm your mind while traveling. He knew that this gaze should have been emitted by the strong guard guarding the sealed demon prison. The demons on the first and second floors of this demon prison are not very powerful, and they are even specifically brought back for interns to practice demonic skills. But these 3 or 4 layers of demons are mysterious and deceitful, not just for fun. They are all evil and sinful big demons. Due to certain special reasons, they cannot be killed, or they cannot be completely killed, and can only be suppressed at the bottom of the sealed demon prison. Once these great demons from the depths of the sealed demon prison escape, it is feared that the entire Qingzhou city will instantly become a human purgatory. Therefore, this demon prison is also the most heavily guarded place among the demonic sections. Soon, the eerie outline of the sealed demon prison appeared in Zhou Yu's eyes. The whole body is built of obsidian, with deep walls and residual dark red blood stains, like a terrifying and ferocious dark beast lurking under the moonlight. Teams of soldiers wearing black armor and holding long halberds are patrolling the outskirts. These soldiers are black tiger guards, mostly composed of trainees who were eliminated in training camps. "What's up?" A thin and long figure, covered in a black robe, spoke faintly at the entrance of the sealed demon prison. "In the next week's tour, I will enter the demon sealing prison tonight to carry out the task of eliminating demons." Zhou Yu took out his identity token and the demon sealing prison token. The slender figure glanced at him and nodded lightly, "Go in." Upon hearing these words, Zhou Yu stepped into the sealed demon prison. Looking at Zhou Yu's back, the slender figure muttered to itself, "Zhou Yu. This name is a bit familiar." "Nonsense. That's Su Ling's disciple." Next to the shadow, a plump figure emerged, biting a big chicken leg and speaking vaguely. The slender figure suddenly realized that it was this kid. Su Ling is really ruthless. Even though he is his own disciple, he doesn't even say a word. The chubby man quickly swallowed a big chicken leg and didn't forget to hiccup. When this kid encounters demons and monsters in the future, can he say he's a disciple of Su Ling, and the demons and monsters will let him go? The slender figure sneered. "It's also pointless to talk about human relationships in this damn place, except for the demon division," the chubby man nodded in agreement. "Because they are not facing people." "By the way, which demon is he going to kill?" the fat man asked again. "Prison 45. TSK, that guy is not easy to deal with." The fat man gloated. As soon as he stepped into the sealed demon prison, a bloody evil energy rushed towards him. There will also be a sharp and eerie roar of demons in the ears. Sha Qi, Yin Qi, Death Qi, Ghost Qi. Various negative energies intertwine and merge together, forming a special magnetic field. Ordinary people who appear in this negative magnetic field will feel scared and horrified. Staying for a long time can even lead to various illusions. Those who are a little timid may even be scared to death. Even if a demon slayer stays in such a haunted place for years and months, their soul will become dark and cruel. When you travel around and run the 9 yang manual, the internal qi just reaching the yang instantly insulates the magnetic field, and the body becomes like an oven burning. The moment near the body is melted by the internal energy of the 9 yang. The sealed demon prison is very large. There is only a straight and endless passage. First floor. Prison number 45. Zhou Yu took out the token to seal the demon prison and searched for this prison. As he walked past the first cell, a long arm covered in blue scales shot out like lightning, wanting to directly twist and break the neck of the traveler. Shua. Zhou Yu's eyes were sharp, and he directly pulled out the demon-slaying blade from his waist. The 9 yang internal energy rushed in, and the temperature of the blade rapidly increased. A red knife light appeared. The speed has reached its limit. There was a muffled bang. The blue arm fell to the ground. In prison, the owner with blue arms is a lizard demon. At the right shoulder where the arm is severed, green blood gushes out like a fountain, constantly howling in pain. Zhou Yu withdrew his sword expressionlessly and walked towards the depths of the sealed demon prison. This time, no demon dares to attack again. Even hiding in a corner, afraid of traveling around and causing trouble for oneself. The second rule of the Demon Slayer rule. Never show a fearful and timid expression in front of the mysterious demons, otherwise they will rush towards you like sharks smelling blood. Prison number 45 will arrive soon. Go around and look inside. In the shadows beyond the candlelight, a burly figure vaguely emerged, emitting heavy breathing sounds. Even if you just stand outside the door, you can smell the stench when traveling. How many years has this guy not brushed his teeth? With a disdainful murmur in his heart, Zhou Yu turned the sealed demon prison token towards prison 45. In an instant, the black token automatically floated up and turned into a black light, tightly sticking to the groove on top. With a click, the door to prison also opened. Travel around and push the door in. Roar. A violent roar erupted in an instant. A black giant ape over 2 meters tall suddenly caught the eye of Zhou Yu, and its huge right fist slammed towards it like a meteor hammer. Humph. Zhou Yu snorted coldly, but surprisingly did not choose to draw his sword. His body made a crackling sound, like stir-fried beans, and his muscles wriggled in a special way, unleashing a terrifying force and punching him directly. Arm punch. With this punch, even the air faintly roared. Bang. A dull and loud noise. Both sides take 5 steps back. This demon ape is so powerful, Zhou Yu was slightly surprised in his heart. You should know that you now weigh at least 1,000 kilograms with just one punch. And the black giant ape on the other side was suppressed for an unknown amount of time, with its energy and blood in a state of collapse, yet it was able to compete evenly with itself. This black giant ape, at its peak, should also be a Yin-level demon. It's just that I've been locked up in the demon sealing prison for so long, without any blood or food to replenish it. Coupled with the suppression of the demon sealing prison's formation, my strength is at a loss. Ah ah ah. The black giant ape roared up to the sky, continuously pounding its chest with both hands, its eyes crimson, and once again pouncing fiercely towards the wandering world. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Demonization. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Demonization, Good Time. Zhou Yu also roared loudly, feeling a frenzy of war in his heart. He drew his demon-slaying sword and fiercely chopped it down. Ha, ha, ha! The demon-slaying sword seemed to transform into a gust of wind. The internal energy of Jiuyang was directly stimulated to the extreme, and a scorching and domineering aura poured into the demon-slaying blade, directly forming a hot wind. The temperature of this prison has started to rise, and the moisture in the air is rapidly evaporating. Bang bang bang. One person and one ape engaged in a frenzy of fighting within the prison. The chi and blood of the journey are surging, like transforming into a furnace of heaven and earth, burning fiercely, constantly stirring up hot winds. The demon ape, whose chi and blood had long been defeated, surprisingly had no counter-attack power under wave after wave of attacks as it traveled around. It's too weak. The fierce wind saber technique was originally an attacking saber technique that was fast as the wind, attacking without defending, advancing without retreating. Once the saber technique was used, the opponent would be attacked like a storm. His narrow and long burnt black knife wounds appeared on the black giant ape, and the internal energy of the 9 yang kept burning, emitting an unpleasant burnt smell. It's over. Storm slash. Seizing the right moment during the journey, he tightly grasped the demon-slaying sword with both hands and slashed down fiercely. Ha, ha, ha! The sound of howling winds resounded in the air. A crimson gust of wind struck the chest of the black demon ape at an incredible speed. Boom boom. The black demon ape was directly thrown away with a knife, fiercely colliding with the walls of the prison. Then he fell to the ground, his massive body constantly convulsing. Let you start the attack on the demon-slaying blade. With a cold and stern face, Zhou Yu arrived at this giant ape without any mercy in his heart and swung his knife to chop it down. No demon that can be locked up here is innocent. The third rule of the Demon Slayer's rule. Mercy towards the mysterious demons is cruelty towards oneself. Click. The demon-slaying blade was incredibly sharp, and it decisively chopped off the head of the black giant ape. When Zhou Yu wiped off the blood and water on the demon-slaying blade, put it inside the scabbard, and prepared to leave. The body of the black giant ape suddenly emitted a black aura that was invisible to the naked eye, merging into the wandering body. However, the 9 yang true qi in the dantian seemed to have no response to this. What's going on? Zhou Yu suddenly felt an inexplicable sense of cruelty rising in his heart, and his eyes turned crimson like blood. In my ears, the roar of the demon ape could be heard. Ah ah. The violent intent in my heart is constantly stirring, but it cannot be vented, making traveling very uncomfortable. At this moment, a voice rang out in my mind. Tong Arm Fist was contaminated by a wisp of demonic energy, becoming ferocious and irritable, blackening into a powerful monkey magic fist. With this voice, the violent intent in Zhou Yu's heart finally subsided. But his eyebrows also quickly furrowed. How could this normally silent Tong Arm Fist inexplicably turn black? However, this is a sealed demon prison, not a place to think about things. Wandering around, I need to calm down a bit and turn around to leave. As for the body of the black giant ape, someone will naturally clean it up tomorrow morning. The fat man in charge of guarding the sealed demon prison saw Zhou Yu come out and said with a smile, he truly deserves to be Su Ling's disciple, and his hands and feet are quite agile. Thank you for your praise, senior. Zhou Yu remained neither humble nor arrogant. Alright, it's getting late now. You should go back early, the chubby man smiled. Farewell on a journey and leave. The commotion this kid made just now was quite significant, the chubby man muttered. The slender black figure said lightly, why do you envy Su Ling for taking in a good disciple? Joke, if I were to take my disciple, I would never let him enter the haunted place of the demon eliminator. The chubby man sneered disdainfully. That's right. The slender black figure smiled bitterly and shook his head. The next day, Zhou Yu woke up early in the morning and heard a bad voice. The 9 yang manual was very happy because it absorbed a ray of sun fire yesterday and received sufficient sunlight. The cultivation speed was increased by 28%. Due to the host not fighting with humans yesterday, the strong ape demon fist couldn't vent its fighting spirit and chose to strike directly. Upon hearing these words, Zhou Yu was completely dumbfounded. Didn't we just have a fight with the black ape last night? But later on, I realized that at that time, the Tong Arm Fist had not yet been blacked out, so it might not count. That is to say, in order to cultivate this powerful monkey demon fist in the future, traveling around requires going to fight with people every day. Regarding this, Zhou Yu also sighed helplessly. The system panel has been opened. Host. Zhou Yu cultivation. Early stage of internal qi state. The 9 yang manual. Level 1, 28%. Gale blade technique. Perfect great ape demon fist. Beginner, 1%. After turning the Tong Arm Fist into the Great Ape Demon Fist, the cultivation progress was directly reset to 0, equivalent to starting from scratch. However, traveling around can also feel some amazing changes in one's body. His limbs have become more slender, especially his hands, and his muscles have become stronger and swollen, seemingly containing terrifying power. Effort seems to have become easier. Power rises from both feet, flows into the human dragon spine, and then into both hands. This process is smooth and there is no waste of power. It's just that when I finished basking in the sun every day, I was stunned after the 9 Yang manual absorbed a ray of sun fire and took the blood tonifying pill. Because after 2 bites, the flesh and blood all over seemed unsatisfied, still crazily conveying the idea of hunger and thirst. So, Zhou Yu had no choice but to take the 3rd nourishing blood pill. Finally, this hunger and thirst finally subsided. And Zhou Yu also understood that this should be the energy and blood consumed by the great ape magic technique. At this moment, the pressure on him became even greater, and he needed to consume 3 blood tonifying pills every day to meet the expenses brought about by cultivation. Zhou Yu sighed helplessly and walked out of the yard. He went to the Heavenly Star Palace to hand over the task first. Last night's demon-slaying task added 10 more contribution points to his body. The only regret is that this type of novice task can only be taken once a month. Without any hesitation, Zhou Yu also chose to go to the Baibao Tower to exchange for 30 blood tonifying pills. Next, it's time to satisfy the fighting desire of the great demon monkey fist and find someone to fight. Fortunately, this is the Demon Eliminator. The official demon slayer is very busy, but there are still some people who will be left vacant. For example, interns like him who eliminate demons, or instructors in training camps, or commanders of Black Tiger Guards, and so on. These people are also first-class experts, and as warriors, they are also energetic individuals. But there are no entertainment activities except for the magic company. So, a martial arts arena emerged. This martial arts arena is located in the training camp in the southern district, as there is only space available there. When traveling and looking for someone to fight, the martial arts arena is naturally the most suitable place. Besides, he can also take advantage of this opportunity to increase his practical experience, which can be considered a win-win situation. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Tiger Crossing the Mountain Stream. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Tiger Crossing the Mountain Stream South District Training Camp. In a place exposed to the sky, several square arenas were built. This is the martial arts arena. At this time, there were people competing in martial arts on each arena, and dozens of people were also gathered below the stage to watch the battle. This is already a difficult scene to see for the Demon Eliminator. On weekdays, the Demon Removal Department is usually deserted, and most of the people I see are also in a hurry. At most, when I meet someone who is more familiar, I nod and signal. Traveling around, you can't stay idle either. Do you want to find someone to spar with? At this moment, a somewhat familiar voice came from behind Zhou Yu. Turning around, I noticed that someone had also walked in from behind. He is a robust and spirited young man. In the memory of Zhou Yu, this person is called Yang Wu, who was in the same group of training camp students as himself. A few days ago, he also survived at Feishua Villa and became an intern demon slayer. That's right. I'm not sure about the 2-star mission at the moment. I want to temporarily practice in the demon eliminating division. Zhou Yu nodded slightly. I have the same idea, Yang Wu smiled. Since we are so destined, why don't we just take 2 moves? Zhou Yu did not refuse. Sure. It seems that Yang Wu's achievements in the training camp have been constantly suppressed by Zhou Yu, and he naturally feels a bit dissatisfied. At this moment, there happened to be an empty arena, and the 2 of them walked up by the way. Zhou Yu, are you planning to compare your martial arts skills? Yang Wu felt a bit strange. There are various weapons without blades placed next to this arena, but Zhou Yu is empty-handed. I want to practice my martial arts recently, Zhou Yu casually said. Mainly, he also wants to try the power of the Great Ape Demon Fist. Okay, I'll accompany you to the end. Yang Wu also threw down his long sword. This week, Yu Mingming is best at swordsmanship, especially with his fierce wind swordsmanship, which has suppressed him for a whole 3 years. Nowadays, if it's not necessary, then it's not necessary. Yang Wu feels that Zhou Yu looks down on him too much. Roaming around, shrugging casually. Their battle also attracted a lot of attention. Hey, isn't this Zhou Yu and Yang Wu? How did these two get into each other's shoes? TSK, these two were originally competitors in the training camp, but they didn't expect to compete even after becoming intern demon hunters. Under the arena, there are two interns who have also survived in Feishua Villa. Let's start now. Yang Wu took a deep breath. Please. Zhou Yu smiled slightly. Yang Wu was not polite and took the lead in challenging. With a fierce stomp on the ground, it shot out like a projectile. The huge fist, with a whistling fist wind, roared directly towards the face of Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu stood still, his eyes slightly narrowed. Force starts from the ground, jumps up from both feet, and then converges into the spine, passing into the right arm. I also punched him up. There was a muffled bang. Yang Wu let out a muffled groan, took 5 steps back in a row, his right hand tingling and trembling slightly. When did the power of traveling become so great? He was somewhat shocked in his heart. You should know that the punch just now used momentum, while the opponent was standing in place. You can tell at a glance which one is stronger or weaker. It's my turn. At this moment, Zhou Yu strode towards Yang Wu with great strides, and his right fist was struck like a meteor hammer, with a rapid force that made a hissing sound of breaking through the air. Bang! Yang Wu resisted with both hands and felt a tremendous force coming, his bones clicking and flying backwards out of the arena. It took a few minutes to stand up. At this moment, the two interns who were also demonizing at the same time on stage were both shocked. When did this trip become so lively? The Great Ape Demon Fist feels that this person is too weak and has a feeling of bullying children, making them even more unhappy. Upon hearing this sound, Zhou Yu also froze in place. Why, do you have to find someone who is evenly matched to fight? If Yang Wu knew the evaluation of the Great Ape Demon Fist on him, he would probably be so angry that he had a cerebral hemorrhage. This kid is a bit interesting. That punch has at least 2,000 kilograms of power. Other viewers are also discussing it. A burly man below, with a playful smile on his face, jumped onto the arena directly. I, Wang Meng, am here to seek your advice. The man arched his hand. Zhou Yu's eyes lit up, and the man was burly, with a loud voice and slightly bulging temples. He was definitely a master. This kind of opponent should be satisfied with the Great Ape Demon Fist. Please give me some guidance, Zhou Yu agreed directly. This Wang Meng seems to have gained some fame in the martial arts arena, attracting more people to watch the battle. This kid is still too young to dare to accept Wang Meng's challenge. Young people, they just need to suffer some setbacks, otherwise how will they face the demons and monsters in the future? That makes sense too. The audience under the arena looked like they were watching a good show. This Wang Meng is a centurion of the Black Tiger Guard, with a cruel and brave personality. On weekdays, when competing with others in the martial arts arena, I don't even know how to hold back and easily injure my opponent. For a long time, no one was willing to compete with him anymore. In fact, Wang Meng was too lazy to bully the newcomers, but he noticed that a scorching aura had just dissipated from Zhou Yu, and he concluded in his heart that this person had entered an inner energy realm. Plus, after several days of not doing anything, my heart was itching and I couldn't bear it, so I jumped up. So, let's start. Zhou Yu's expression became solemn. Wang Meng's momentum suddenly changed, as if he had transformed into a fierce tiger, leaping high and his hands were like tiger claws, fiercely rushing towards the surroundings. This pattern is called the tiger leaping over the mountain stream. Legend has it that when a fierce tiger encounters prey in a mountain stream, it will jump high and a pair of tiger claws will fiercely strike the prey's spine, directly smashing it to pieces. This Wang Meng's personality is really cruel, he used such a killing move from the beginning. Zhou Yu is also excited in his heart and directly used the powerful monkey demon fist. Wang Meng's tiger paw fiercely grabbed Zhou Tai's fist, and as he was about to exert force to twist it, a terrifying force instantly penetrated his wrist. This inch strength is the essence of the powerful monkey demon fist. Suddenly caught off guard, Wang Meng was directly ejected. With a fierce roar, Zhou Yu unleashed a terrifying speed and chased after him, his right fist slamming down like a heavy hammer. Damn it! Wang Meng finally stopped his body and had no spare strength to defend, so he could only dodge. Zhou Yu punched me in vain, but I didn't feel discouraged. Instead, my momentum was like a rainbow, and I looked like a madman. My fists rained down like raindrops. Each of his punches is powerful and heavy, carrying unparalleled power. A hint of crimson appeared in his eyes unconsciously. The ape demon was originally a demon born for battle. On the arena, Wang Meng was suddenly overwhelmed by Zhou Yu and couldn't lift his head, so he had to constantly dodge and defend. What's this kid doing? He can actually suppress the king tiger. I don't know if the face looks very fresh. I remember him, it seems like he was a disciple adopted by Su Ling from a young age. Surprisingly, he is Su Ling's disciple. His combat style doesn't seem at all. The audience below the arena looked at the crazy figure and exclaimed in amazement. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Monkey Demon Falling Stele. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Monkey Demon Falling Stele. Damn it. Wang Meng did not expect that his momentary carelessness would suppress him to such an extent. He has always been the only one suppressing people to fight, where did anyone suppress him to fight? This is simply a great shame. Tiger Roar Fist. Wang Meng couldn't help it anymore. He seized an opportunity and suddenly unleashed his strength, directly unleashing his ultimate move. Ow! A faint roar of a tiger echoed in the air. This punch is extremely domineering. With a fixed gaze, Zhou Yu also noticed the terrifying nature of this situation. However, he still did not retreat. At this moment, his fighting spirit is as hot as flames, with only one thought in his mind. That's an attack. Fierce attack. Endless attack. Monkey Demon collapses on the mountain. With a long howl during the journey, the fighting spirit surged into the clouds, and with a punch, it directly met the enemy. Bang! After a violent collision, two figures flew out almost simultaneously and fell heavily to the ground. Ha ha ha! Enjoy yourself. Wang Meng laughed and got up, with a fierce expression on his face, launching another attack. Zhou Yu also quickly got up, his eyes full of fiery fighting spirit, and he bravely welcomed him. Bang, bang, bang. Both sides have a very tacit understanding and have not used any internal energy. Simply fighting for physical strength is completely a collision between muscles. Wang Meng's tiger fist attack is like a fierce tiger, with a domineering and fierce attack. The powerful monkey demon fist of wandering is characterized by a wide opening and closing, with an immensely powerful force that has just reached its ultimate strength. In just over 10 seconds, both sides engaged in dozens of moves. The scattered fist wind spreads like ripples, like a typhoon sweeping through. The audience below can only step back in succession. However, more and more people gathered, almost becoming the focus of the entire audience. It's time to win. Wang Meng felt that he couldn't drag on any longer and kept fighting against Zhou Yu. He felt like his hands were almost falling apart. Ow! Another tiger roar fist. Zhou Yu's eyes sparkled with excitement, he was waiting for this opportunity. Suddenly approaching Wang Meng, I grabbed his arm and threw it cleanly over his shoulder. Monkey Demon falls the stele. Wang Meng's expression changed, he was about to break free, and then he felt like the earth was spinning around. A huge impact came and he fainted directly. Boom boom. Zhou Yu's fall directly shattered the arena, causing dust to fly in the air. That is to say, the martial artist in the inner Qi realm has a strong physique. If he were an ordinary person, he would probably be thrown into meat sauce. However, even so, Wang Meng should still be lying in bed for a few days. The audience below took a deep breath when they saw this scene. This person is too fierce, isn't he? No one would have thought beforehand that Wang Meng was not a match for an intern demon slayer. This kid, his future is limitless. Su Ling really found a good disciple. Wang Meng has really lost face this time. TSK, that fall just now made my scalp tingle just by looking at it. The audience below kept discussing, but no one felt that Zhou Yu was too ruthless. This is the Demon Removal Department, a place where even death is considered commonplace. What's the point of being injured so little? After a good fight with the Great Ape Demon Fist, I felt very relaxed and finally started practicing hard. The cultivation speed has increased by 30%. Upon hearing the voice in his mind, a hint of joy flashed on Zhou Yu's face. This little ancestor is finally satisfied. In no time, someone from the clinic came over and carried Wang Meng away. Zhou Yu also slipped away. Having experienced this great war, he actually had a slight bone fracture in his arms, which was in constant pain. His physical strength was also depleted, and staying here was meaningless. In the following days, Zhou Yu will be completely immersed in cultivation. The 9-yang manual absorbs a ray of sun fire every morning, and its cultivation speed is also amazing. On the side of the Great Ape Demon Fist, there is no obstacle in traveling, and every day they go to the martial arts arena to compete with people. After several battles, more and more people began to recognize the strength of Zhou Yu, and they had also fought against several senior demon hunters. However, without exception, Zhou Yu suffered a disastrous defeat. But to his surprise, he thought that after his defeat, the Great Ape Demon Fist would start to rage and strike again, but it gave him an unexpected surprise. This guy is not only a battle maniac, but also an indestructible Shao Chang. After losing, he was actually full of fighting spirit and his cultivation speed skyrocketed, leaving Zhou Yu stunned. In addition, the daily 3 nourishing blood pills continuously provide essence, and the cultivation speed of the journey can be described as 1,000 miles per day. More than 20 days later. Early in the morning, I heard good news while traveling around. After this period of unremitting efforts, the 9-yang manual finally broke through the bottleneck and reached the 2nd level. Upon hearing this sound, Zhou Yu quickly opened the system panel. Host. Zhou Yu, the 9-yang manual. The 2nd layer, 2%. Special effect. Blazing Gale Blade Technique. Perfect Powerful Monkey Demon Fist. Proficient, 6%. Special effect. Rampage. The Great Ape Demon Fist originally broke through to the proficient stage a few days ago. Today, the 9-yang manual has finally reached the 2nd level. At this moment, Zhou Yu can feel that the Jiuyang internal qi, which was originally as thick and thin as a toothpick, has become the size of chopsticks, slowly flowing through the meridians. He tried to stimulate the internal energy of the 9-yang, and his palms instantly became extremely hot, red like a soldering iron. Placing the palm on the table, white smoke emitted directly, emitting a burnt odor. Zhou Yu felt like he continued to stimulate the internal energy of the 9-yang, afraid that this table would catch fire directly. Hurry up and remove it. On the desktop, there is a deep burnt black handprint added. This is the scorching effect. Zhou Yu nodded in satisfaction. The most terrifying and eerie energy is the fiery and masculine energy. The internal energy of the 9-yang was originally extremely strong, but now with this fiery special effect, it is like adding wings to a tiger, and can be considered as a mysterious nemesis. And the berserk special effects obtained after reaching the proficiency stage of the Great Ape Magic Technique have also been tried by Zhou Yu. It will lead the whole person directly into a state of irrational madness, with a surge in combat effectiveness and the loss of all pain sensations. The duration is 5 minutes, followed by a period of weakness. However, Zhou Yu also thinks that this special effect is a miracle. At critical moments, it can have a decisive effect. The blood tonifying pill has also been consumed almost. I originally wanted to wait for my master to come back, but I didn't expect it. Zhou Yu has an extra letter in hand. Master Su Ling has been out on a mission for over 20 days and has never returned. Originally, Zhou Yu was a bit worried, but I received a letter from Su Ling yesterday. There are only a few words on the letter. Everything is safe, don't worry. Su Ling. Then I should also go and carry out the task. Traveling around murmuring. This journey of cultivation is like sailing against the current, either advancing or retreating. The supply of this blood tonifying pill cannot be stopped, so he can only accept tasks and earn contribution points. End of this chapter.